You fight till December.
I only train. I don't know what a break is. I'm so tough.
The question is for Chris. Chris, was your inexperience in the championship rounds the cause of the dip in rounds 4 and 5, or do you just feel something else led to that?
I don't know. I gotta rewatch the tape. So if you're saying, you know, a dip in 4th and 5th, I gotta look at it again. I think I won the 5th though, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I'll go with you on that.
Lyoto, this one's for you. Do you think you should have been more aggressive earlier in the fight instead of looking to counterpunch?
Yeah.
Maybe, but the first round I was studying.
Maybe he's hungry or tired, you know.
Because this is my style. I have to study a little bit and to see everything.
Yeah.
But
maybe
if I start to be more aggressive early, maybe in the second round, I don't know what will happen. But I could beat him. I don't know.
Last question for Dana. The fight was so close. Do you anticipate an early rematch, or is there someone else in your mind that's also in the mix?
I had the fight 4-1. I had it. I gave Machida the 4th round. It was a great fight, and you know, this is one of those fights for Chris Weidman that, you know, he beat Anderson Silva twice, undefeated, and the way he beat Anderson Silva twice. And to get this fight against a guy like Machida and be undefeated, have those two on your resume, I think what's next and what everybody would like to see, I think what I'd like to see and what you'd like to see is probably Vitor Belfort.
Right.
So let's see what happens with Vitor. This guy can get his business handled. You know, I don't think Machida's going anywhere. Machida's one of these guys in this division that's one of the best in the world. We'll see how this thing plays out. I don't know.
This is for Machida. First of all, thanks for this epic fight. That was awesome. How do you feel emotionally right now, knowing that you almost had him on the 4th round?
I feel happy with my performance, but I know when I go home and I feel a little sad because I would like to get this title, this belt. That's a part of the game. You know, I have to accept everything and keep doing, keep my training, and I have to will be back for strong.
Chris, can you take us right here? Can you take us through the last 30 seconds when he came after you with everything he had?
I gotta rewatch it. So the last 30 seconds, the 5th round, he came after me like an animal. I gotta rewatch that. I can't tell you. I have a bad memory as it is. So I can't tell you what happens in sparring sessions. I can't tell you what happens anywhere. I just go through life and happy-go-lucky.
Thank you.
I've got a question for you, Chris, over here. Congratulations, that was obviously an amazing performance for you. But before the fight, I'd heard some rumblings that maybe didn't have a great camp. There were some changes in the coaching staff. I just wondered if you could talk about that and let people know whether or not it, in fact, was maybe not the greatest camp for you.
Yeah, to be honest, it was. I think it was probably my worst camp ever, but you know, we got the job done. I had for 2 weeks I haven't been able to hit pads. Even in the locker room, I didn't hit pads as long ago. My hand got messed up 2 weeks ago. Had to go to the doctor just to make sure it wasn't broken. It was just ligament issues. And then my knees, you know, I kind of might have started a little fast into camp, and my knees were not where they should have been. But I pushed through, and I refused to make excuses on why I shouldn't, you know, win this fight. So, but if I had to be honest with myself, it was probably my worst camp as far as just everything was going wrong. I had a lot of issues.
Okay, thank you. And Ronda, for you, following up on the whole knee thing, how bad has your knee been, and for how long? Because you know, a lot of time people kind of work through this, and really it's an issue that they maybe should have addressed earlier than they do.
Well, it's kind of been a whole life thing. I tore my ACL when I was 16, and then when I was doing judo, I was pretty much getting knee surgery every 2 years. And then when I started doing MMA, it actually healed a lot, and it hadn't really been giving me too much trouble. And when I did the Misha and McMahon fight back to back, it was really, I had put so much wear on it when not resting in between. And with McMahon, I had to do so much wrestling that my knee was really starting to act up. But then I rested after that, and it started feeling better. And I knew I had to get surgery, but it wasn't really imminent. You know, my knee is really stable. Like, all the ligaments are fine. There's just some junk floating around in there. Like, I went and did press the other day, and it was like, on the press conference day, like, there was something like moving around in there, and it was bugging me, but by the time I was done with media, it somehow worked itself out. You know, it's just one of those things that it's annoying, and it actually got better for this camp, because I did like less wrestling, and we didn't really do that much legs for this camp. But it's something that I need to take care of. I can't put it off forever, and I'd rather do it now instead of, you know, risking getting worse.
Thank you.
We'll take one more question.
This is for Rob Fong. Rob, 6 years ago you were delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut and back here. And now you're sitting up there on the dais with some of the biggest names in the UFC.
6 years is a long time.
$50,000 bonus tonight. How much did this win change your life?
I was doing the same thing 10 years ago.
I don't even know what to say right now.
Oh, that's him over there. Whoops.
This is huge, you know.
Fun school.
I was delivering pizzas.
It's cool.
Pretty much the last 3 years, my girlfriend's been paying for everything, you know.
Damn, bro.
Got the call, was a great opponent, and, you know, we went in there
Let's
and
go
had business. You know,
everything.
he always used to sit back there, you know, in the right hand, so I knew if I touched him, I was going to put him out, you know, it happened.
Yeah, it was a nice knockout.
And then for Russell, obviously a close fight tonight. How comfortable were you going into the judge's decision? Did you think you had won the fight, or were you unsure?
You know, anytime you hear, you know, like 28, 29, don't, it's like, oh man, you know, did I do enough? You know what I mean? But thankfully for me, you know, I got the win, so good news.
Very warm.
And finally, for your with your submission win tonight, you tied Kazushi Sakuraba for the most submission finishes in the combined history of the UFC, WEC's Strikeforce, and Pride. What makes you such a successful submission fighter out there?
I think it's, you know, a lot of my setups for submissions are big punches, you know, from way back from Curran, Bowles, Jens Pulver. Those are all set up by big punches, and I'm a guy that looks for the finish, you know. I remember in wrestling, I wasn't a big pinner, and my last year in college, somebody said, you know, it just has to be a mentality. You have to be looking for that pin. You have to believe in it, and I brought that into the fight game. That's pretty cool, man. Sakuraba's one of my favorite fighters of all times. For those who don't know him, because I know there's a lot of new folks in here, he's a wild man, you know, wrestler / fighter from Japan. But that's sweet. It's motivating. Makes me want to submit a bunch more people. So who's next?
So I want to thank everybody for their participation this week. All the media
Thank you, Dana.
for International Fight Week. Thank you guys so much. Everything was a huge success. Tonight was great. Now one more to go. Thank you very much, you guys. Good night.